program. This one's about how deer are actually aliens. And the beings with the very advanced technology that had the technology to get here in the first place definitely would have the technology to make a replica of a common earth animal, a deer, and then also program it to say what deers normally say, which is round, round, ba-bick, bick, bow, round, round, ba-bick, bick, bow, round, round, ba-bick, bick, bow. Cosmic deer, it goes rear in the moonlight, in the moonlight. Well, it's from outer space with a real familiar face, just so people think that it's from Earth. Well, it's got antennas that look like antlers, pretty sneaky, isn't it? It's got microphones that look like ears, pretty rad. It's got cameras that look a lot like eyeballs. It sends messages back home to the land of snap. Round, ba big big bow, ripping it down, rip a big big bow. Shimmy the big, we can make a big bow. Hamming the big, rock with these big big bow. Chicken the boom, the boom, the boom, chicken the boom, the boom, the bow. Chicken the boom, the boom, the boom, the boom, the boom, the boom, bow. A boom, the boom, 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 bow. Chicken the boom, 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 boom. And round, round, ba big big bow. Cosmic deer, it goes rear in the moonlight. In the moonlight. Well, it's from outer space with a real familiar face, just so people think that it's from Earth. It's a strange place, but it's very beautiful and has a lot of really nice forests, which is the thing that I've always focused on about it. You know, I'm essentially a forest person. I like to be in the forest.
A mountain jumper?
A mountain jumper. Yes. Mini mountains. You know, some people see me and they think I'm all wild because I used to play the cello through a Marshall stack and run around with my shirt off and stuff. But the truth is that I'm just a mini adventurer. You know, I'm not one of these real rugged guys that...
A mini?
Mini adventurer. Okay. You know, like I'll climb up a mini mountain and inflate it in my mind, so I was like, yeah! Because the... You know what I mean? It's the same thing with fame and success. I feel like, you know, what's really the difference between being on this couch right now and being on the Tonight Show or something? It's just a flip. It's just a switch you flip in your brain. Really.
So this is more interesting stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you're on the Tonight Show, it'd be pre-programmed. Hey, blah, 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 blah. Let's say some pop culture stuff and then get on with it, right?
Yeah, they'd probably have an electric prong in my back saying, like, if you don't say what you said you were going to say, and you start talking about weasels again and stuff, you know, it's like, we're going to zap. Hey, I am Rushad Eggleston. I'm a forest person. I'm very interested in wheat, genetically modified wheat. Actually, yes, that's right.
GMO wheat. So, do you think that if you were born somewhere else, do you think it would have followed the same life course?
Absolutely not.
Yeah?
Well, it's really hard to say because that calls into question almost everything.
Exactly. But taking it from not so literal and an atomic level, do you think that you would have just like gotten a job at the local mill if you had been born in Kansas? Or do you think you're destined to be... Did people from there shape you and be like, yay, kid, wear some tights and like see what happens? Or is this all of your own accord? Is what I wonder.
Well, a lot of it would. I mean, it's the nature versus nurture question, and then the expanding circles of nature and nurture. Like your parents make a big difference. My parents definitely made a big difference because I was the first child, and they were, children of the hippie generation. They weren't full on like wild like hippies. My dad kind of was, but they basically treated me as an experiment. In that, if you're an oldest child, your parents generally will put all their ideals about stuff. They haven't gone through the hardship of raising another kid. So
you
they're
literally are an experiment.
Yeah, you are.
You're a
exactly.
hypothesis.
It's two earthlings trying to raise another earthling, being like, okay, well, yeah, sure, you could drop out of high school if you want. And like, yeah, you want to run around wearing bare feet. They were nice and encouraging. They saw that I was very passionate about music, and I early on learned how to milk that. It's like, if I just showed them that I was, but it wasn't a false milking. I wasn't like pretending to practice. I was like, hey, if I stay home and I practice my cello for 8 hours a day, will you let me get out of high school? Yeah, no problem. It's cool. So
yeah, I think that was essentially your high school. He has an alternative language of his own.
Yes, right now it's called the language of Sneth. It used to be called the language of Snee, and I can't make any predictions on what it was going to be called in 5 years from now.
All right.
It's a language that has a personality, much like people, that it can change. You know, some people change their name to Yamuni. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, hi, Sarah, how are you? I haven't seen you in like 10 years. Actually, it's Yamuni. Yamuni dosa dostra dundeen denade. You want to hear some Sneth language examples?
Yeah, he has some examples here.
Let's see. Here we go. How many bumbies no snofsnuas numbi? Achucumbi crectocroid. Canjambula blucastrubi and denculoid vivio vimich of hortorguis. Hey Bob, a bunthia buyer. Oh, amuscamu, dribbin icus of fulfathuamir, jargon uthia parzara of coclunguagnir, unchuckwealoids ribney pibney of dwyer-esque habney pabney with the rotohorkney and a tabotorkney and other inconsequentia.
All right, give it up. So you were talking earlier about how you ran into a guy who is what you say, I don't want to use the word nonsense, but you said that he had his PhD in nonsense and that he took a shine to you, right?
Yes, this is an English professor at my college that...
Your college?
Berklee College of Music, which doesn't, I understand, give him very much credentials as far as being an English professor. But the whole point is that it's a guy that's a scholar in studying language and linguistics and stuff, and he specializes in what he calls nonsense writing, and that has a few different definitions. Some of it is like gibberish in terms of words that you never heard, like thoroughagaufnes, for example, and some of it is just like, you know, kind of non sequitur based stuff.
Yeah. You guys know what a non sequitur is? It's like non-sequential. Like if I said barn, Obama, Nike, tangerine. Like none of those things make any sense. And so the fun of it is if you can think of the least sensical thing to say after one of another, you can kind of have a good laugh. I do it all the time. People don't understand my sense of humor, and they'll be like, Micah, what do you think? And I'll be like, burp. You know, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, no, it does, because it's funny, because it's the least likely thing that I should have said, right? Suffice to say, there's very scholarly people who think that Rushad's language is something not to be ignored, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So when did you start playing cello? Was it cello from day one?
No, day one was the violin. Okay. Little Rushad.
Yes. Tut, tut, tut.
Yes.
And a one, and a two.
Yeah, I was 3.
Oh, cool.
Didn't have much say in the matter, or maybe I did. I just don't remember very much. I don't think I was begging my mom to play violin, but I guess I begged her in the way that I showed an interest in music heavily when she put it on the record player and everything. Cool. You know. So.
What were the early records? It's a cliche question, but it's fun to know, you know?
I think it was a lot of Baroque music, actually. Okay, cool. Classical music.
Strings.
Paganini. Yeah. A record of Itzhak Perlman
playing Paganini. So do your parents play as well?
My mom was a flautist.
Okay.
But
for those of you, that means someone who plays the flute. Some reason you don't say flutist, it's flautist. So, FYI, if you want to get on with the classical folk, just say that, you know.
Have you ever eaten a flauta?
I think so.
Yeah. It's like a flute-shaped Mexican food item.
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. There's this correlation, between English and Spanish. It's a conspiracy thing.
So at what point did you switch? When you got bigger?
When I was 8. Yeah, I was bigger.
So what was the allure of the cello?
A popular answer to that question is that my younger brother started playing it, and I didn't, at that point want him to be able to do something that I couldn't.
How many brothers do you have, or how many siblings?
Two brothers.
Okay, cool.
They're both younger.
You're the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So when did you start adapting your cello playing to non-typical repertoire?
Pretty early on, actually. I mean, my mom would sit there with the notes she took at my lessons, and it was supposed to be strictly classical, and I started going off into tangents, and then she'd be like, "No, Rushad, you play what your lesson." In a very much more stern way. She was very nice, my mom. She bought me these pants. You can see that she embraces my being and personality now. But in the old days, it was like, because she didn't know. She's like, I mean, if you play cello, you play what you're supposed to. You got to learn the way that people have learned the cello because it's a tradition. Classical music is very serious.
That's the cool thing about you. This guy, I would say, in all my musical travels, I've never seen anyone that embraces. Because I feel like you're sort of like Salvador Dali meets Yo-Yo Ma or something.
Oh, think about that.
Right?
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I think that some early influences probably led me in that direction, and that I was into AC/DC and Primus when I was younger. And, the guy from AC/DC runs around the whole time just like he's being electrocuted. And to me, that was like awesome because you never wanted to stop watching. He was just like, yeah, he's like so excited, doing knee slides and playing on his back and doing everything, it was like. And I also read an interview with him where he explained the whole philosophy behind that someone when he was little told him that, if you're going to bend a note, like really like bend the note, like, but that whole thing of embracing the zany side of things has been a long evolution. I wasn't always this outwardly zany. Inwardly, it was like a kernel, it's a seed and it's growing, but it started with embracing the fact that was cool. I can remember one experience when I was 10 and I was in the first chair of my little youth orchestra, which wasn't a particularly great orchestra. It was just a local orchestra, kids, and I was just like, I don't know what it was, but I was just feeling it, during the concert. And I was like hamming it up and just like really laying into it. And then this old man named Ed Hannon came up to me afterwards trembling, and he's like, "Young man, you play with vigor." I thought he meant vinegar, but I knew it was cool, whatever he said.
Yeah, you are a wild guy, but you're not like vulgar, you're not crude, you're not like some rock stars are just like, will go really far to make themselves the center of attention in a way that you'd just like hide your kids' eyes, you know what I mean? But like with this guy, it's like I want to be like, push my kids to the center of the stage when I have them, you know what I mean? Like, go look at this guy, see what he does. What's that? That's like interesting to me. Like, how do people take you on the basis of your everyday sort of journey?
Yeah, that brings up some interesting points because in my personal journey, growing up thinking rock stars were the coolest thing in the world, naturally wanted to emulate that. And talking about Axl Rose and Jim Morrison and Jimi Hendrix, and they're all famous drug addicts for one, and alcoholics, and all these things that are not necessarily me or who I was raised as at all. My mom's from India, and she's never even had a sip of alcohol in her whole life. I'm not judging, by the way. I drink sometimes, but the point is that as I started playing rock and roll and getting wild, and I realized that I could do anything I want, it took me a while to realize that I wasn't being myself as much as I was trying to be a rock star and be like that, loud and lewd and just like, doing everything I could.
Obnoxious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the key word.
I was obnoxious sometimes, yeah. And I mean, I never got, super into drugs or whatever, but the point is that I was trying to be that guy, like, oh, how wild can you be? And like, how much can you scream? And just like, you know what I'm talking about, probably. But then, and swearing a lot and singing a lot of filthy songs and stuff. But I realized that, well, probably helps having a wife. Probably helps having a wife, because the wife tends to chill one out and make you realize what's important in life, right? But, yay, wives, sure, give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. That's my almost wife. Well, we're not married yet, but we will be soon. The mouse princess in the back, there she is. Look at that.
Mouse princess, hey.
She's joking. Now, but yeah, I realized that as an artist, it's a very special opportunity to be able to appeal to all people. Not in a kind of, real homogenized, like, type of way. Like a G-rated, overtly, like, Barney type of... I'm talking about, I love it when I have shows where there's people that are in all decades of age, from 90 down to 7, and it's happened multiple times.
Springfest and Magfest are good for that, I think.
Yeah. So I realized that if I drop the swearing and the, overt sexuality or whatever, I mean, there's still some of that because it's primal, and sometimes you're turning off your mind that's telling you about morals and what you should and shouldn't do, and just embracing this wild tornado of energy, which is important to putting on a good show and to being transcendent. But it's good to have a filter and to not make it so that the kids that are the actual future of the world can't enjoy this wild creativity and stuff that's going on,
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. That's cool. So I saw a interview that you did where you said maybe since we're beaming everything that we do out into the universe, maybe there's someone on another planet that the whole planet just loves my music, right? Mm-hmm. Did you go on about that, or was that just like some?
Did I go on about that, or could
you?
I? Oh, I could go on for hours and hours about that. Yeah. Actually.
Do you have any proof, or just intuitive proof?
It's kind of hard to prove that, because I mean, if you were a scientist and you wanted to prove that beings on other dimensions, which could be occupying, according to modern science, the same physical space as this one, or beings far away that had just super gnarly radio things that could pick up certain specialized vibes, like their tape starts rolling every time they hear my name or something. I mean, I'm not trying to, glorify myself or whatever, but it's my way of coping with my relatively small success compared to what I thought I'd have when I was younger and more bright-eyed on Earth, by saying that, but how could you prove it wrong? I don't know. What would you even do as a scientist to devise an experiment like that? You know what I mean? Like you could say, all right, Rushad, well, if they're really listening to you in your next show, tell them that, if they're really listening, they'll suddenly make a bunch of ketchup appear on that wall. But then that implies that we think that they have the ability to come into this dimension, not just listen to the sounds of it, and make ketchup appear on the wall. Maybe they don't have ketchup in that dimension. Maybe they don't have control over this dimension. So it's very hard to prove.
I like that, though, because your idea of infinity, if you're really thinking about infinity all the time, then anything is possible. May not be as probable, but what is probable? We're getting far out now.
Yeah, well, I was gonna bring it down to earth in a way, in terms of saying that, whether there's actual beings on other planets and in other dimensions that are listening to me and adoring my stuff, or it's just my subconscious, or it's just all in my head, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is the feeling. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the difference between being on Letterman and being on this couch right here. I think it's all up here, and it would be in your attitude and how you choose to see it. I think it's a positive thing for me to feel that I'm a rock star in other dimensions.
All right.
But
I like
yeah.
it.
But because it gives me self-esteem and confidence, and I'm like, yeah, all right. You know, it's like, I can walk down the street knowing that people on other planets know who I am. Yeah, I'm somebody.
So what would you say is what compels you forward? Like, cause like what point did you? Cause I'd say that you're somebody that's really being yourself. Cause like I don't get the sense that you're just putting it on and then like you're not doing it for attention or anything. You're just like doing your thing, and it happens to attract some attention. What is that? What's the difference? Like what?
That's a very good
do you
question.
Because I know you're in music, because we're both musicians. So as a musician, you get a real strong radar of like, I don't believe it. That's not real. You know what I mean? You get a quick sense of that after you listen to a lot of music. And so how do you incorporate that, or anything to say on that?
Yeah, I feel like it's a constant checking of what you're putting out there and then who you are and how those two compare. Like I was saying about when I was trying to be a rock star, I was putting that on a little bit because I wanted to. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I think I can fool everybody. It's just like I was like, yeah, oh no, I'm as cool as Jim Morrison, whatever. Like I'll get up here and do my strutty thing, you know?
Just like a theatrical mindset, maybe.
Yeah. But the difference between seeking attention and just being yourself, there's also a loophole in the being yourself, which is like, what if part of yourself is liking attention? I mean, a lot of people.
Why do you think I do this?
Right. Yeah. No. Everyone needs attention, and everything also has like two sides to it, or maybe it's a sphere with many sides into one round, smooth moon-like surface that's not quite smooth but kind of cratery, like full of cheese and stuff. Yeah, cheese. And anyways, because everybody that's gonna be on stage, I think, and gonna enjoy being up on stage in front of a lot of people, it's kind of likely that they have a bigger ego, so to speak, than other people. Or maybe everyone has the same size ego and certain people can just handle different aspects of it differently. I'm not quite sure. But for me, the being colorful and this whole thing, if it's an act that happens 24 hours a day that I completely believe in. Because I like wearing this. This is what I wish I saw other people wearing. You know, not that I get that disappointed when I see people that aren't wearing it, because then I came to realize that it takes a village, you know. And I talked to some other guys that are trying to cure cancer and stuff, and he says, well, I can't exactly go up to people in like a pink polka dotted suit and saying, I'm sorry, but your wife just died. You know, I mean, that's heavy, but it's kind of true. So he's like, I can't dress like you, but I feel you. So I'm doing it for those people that can.
Yeah. You should just drop the mic. No, that's cool, man. The lead singer of Arcade Fire said something. He's like, this got so big. He's like, I felt like I needed to get a crazy haircut. You know what I mean? Just for all the people who want to like look at me and being like, oh, I wish I could do that. So there's an aspect to that. Yeah,
totally. Well, when I knew nothing about this guy when
Adam.
Yeah, Adam. When I was coming here and just nothing, and I was like thinking that I was gonna have a debate, right? And so when I was imagining the debate in my head, I imagined a really clean-cut Florida politician looking at me and being like, "So, why do you have long hair and you're like that?" I thought he was going to ask me why I had long hair. And I was going to say, like, well, because I can. And why do you not shave? And it's because I can. And it's like, yeah. A lot of it's because I can. I don't have to work for anybody else. There's not anybody telling me what to do. So that is a freedom to be enjoyed and one of the wonderful things about living in the day and age, with all the problems that exist in the world now, there's plenty of them and a whole bunch, and also times a million, but I just feel lucky that I can be this weird and get away with it in this society, whereas in a lot of other societies in planet Earth, I would have probably been clubbed or stoned or shot to death or hung, just for,
it's true.
So we're lucky that we have as much self-expression as we do, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Do you have any really pending goals or something you really want to do, or do you just day to day? You know what I mean? Because you kind of keep evolving. You've done because I got really into what they called progressive bluegrass in college. It's like bluegrass that was hip, because all these young guys started doing it, and I was like, this is awesome. And he played in an awesome band called Crooked Still. Amazing band. And he was one of these he was like the only cellist in bluegrass. That's like showing up to the rock band with a trombone and be like, all right, let's play. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. It's cool.
Yeah, but then you invent ska.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of.
And this went terribly wrong. But do you have images in your mind of things you want to do that maybe people don't know of, or are you just one of those people who just discovers what you like on a daily basis, or what's your kind of thing like?
That's a good question, and I do think about that a lot naturally, and it's kind of somewhere in between. It's a constant battle between the two, really, in my head, in terms of, pulling those mental flips so that you can be totally grateful for what you have at the moment. And for also, it's a good formula for putting on the best show possible. Say I'm playing at somebody's house. I do play a lot of house concerts. Or at some small bar with, anywhere between 30, a small club, theaters are better, really. But some small place with between 30 and 130 people, say, if I go up there and imagine that it's the biggest show of my life and the most important performance I could ever play, and that all kinds of beings on other galaxies are watching, or some religious people that I know would say every concert's for God, and you're going to go there and you're going to give it all from the bottom of your being, everything you have. To me, that's what true performing is about. You know what I mean? It's not about waiting to get till you're at Madison Square Garden or whatever. But yeah, it's natural to want to have your picture on a billboard on the I-10.
Yeah. Do you miss the days with Crooked Still playing that with those guys?
I only miss those days, honestly, maybe about once every 3 or 4 years. I was totally ready to be done with that, because I had stayed in. I wanted to stop doing that in about 2004, because my own thing, was just the need to express that which was in here, and not was way greater than the need to express that which was in the Appalachian Mountains, which is awesome. And I think that it's super rad that a lot of people are dedicating their lives to, preserving and sharing that music, as well as other traditional kinds of music, like classical music and like jazz. Because if they didn't, then it would probably just die out, and then all anyone would be able to hear is the clear channel stuff that they want you to hear, and that's just not good.
FYI, Clear Channel is the company that owns everything that you hear on the radio. It's kind of like Walmart of music. So that's what he means when he says that's
Yeah, I just realized my strengths would be better put towards expressing a new thing. I'm Sir Dolus Pocus Cola. If you can think it, then you can drink it. Yeah, I'm Sir Dolus Pocus Cola. It's the most delicious beverage in the Western Galaxy. I'm Sir Dolus Pocus Cola. If you can think it, then you can drink it. Yeah, I'm Sir Dolus Pocus Cola. It's the most delicious beverage in the Western Galaxy. Just one sip will set you free. No, that's not how the lyrics go. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, oh, I know how it goes. Just one taste will shoot you over the stars. Effervescent intergalactic catapult, har har. Just one taste will set you free. It can make you be anything that you think you can be, like a falcon, panther, albatross, tiger, overlord of the sky, or an alien, catman, superman, spaceman. No one ever felt so high. Like a falcon, panther, albatross, tiger, overlord of the sky, or an alien, catman, superman, spaceman. No one ever felt so high. Dolus, Poxapolus, Cola. If you can think it, then you can drink it. Dolus, Poxapolus, Cola. It's the most delicious beverage in the Western Galaxy. Boppity boop 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 boop. Thank you.
Give it up.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, brother. Give it up for Rushad Eggleston.
Here's a song about a young detective. Are you the one that put niblets on Terrence Bugner? Or was it someone else put niblets on Terrence Bugner? Well, it's not really something that I care about, but I'll get paid a lot if I could find out just who was the one putting niblets on Terrence Bugner. They call me Detective La Boo Bobbies. That's 'cause my name is Bobby La Boo Bobbies. La Boo Bobbies, 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 La Boo Bobbies.